Welcome to Good Friday edition of Office Hours. I apologize for scheduling this on Good Friday. We weren't thinking, but that's why we have it on demand on video. So if you are out and about, you are more than welcome to view this at your leisure. Down 3 weeks. I hope you're enjoying it so far. We're doing very well on participation. I'll do the shout-outs first. This, I think, is, Joseph, this is our most engaged class. You guys would agree on that? Alexander, Alexandra, Amy, Andrea, Anita. We have a lot of A's. Ashley, Bill, Brent, Bryant, Chris, David, Debbie, Dennis, Devin, Flora, Heather, Lucas, Paul, and Sarah. Shout out to Sarah also. I hope she's on. Sarah, I'm going to show them your homework assignment. I was very impressed. I'm impressed by all your homework assignments. I appreciate the time. I'm not assigning this as a make-work thing. I respect your time. I know you have a demanding job. I know we're coming up on the end of the month when we have to close deals and get things done. I assign these for a reason, and I appreciate your feedback. I'm trying to make you a more rounded and expert loan underwriter. And I've given you a couple different options on that, and I just want you to think. This is everyone. If you turn it in, you get 100%. And by the way, it's 100% work. So congratulations. Let's get into this. By the way, questions. If you want to do a live question, we've only had that a couple of times. Raise your hand, Joseph. Bring on and ask me anything live. We'll be happy to do that. What is your initial impression of a loan to Jeff Wong? Is it Jeff or John? I think it's John. To acquire, Mr. Wong, to acquire Gray's Dry Cleaning. You have 4 options. Yeah, possible. Of course, you need a lot of information. For those of you doing the homework, you gave me the list of stuff you need. You're agnostic. You can go either way on this. Doubtful you're going to do the deal, or I've moved on. We're not going to touch this. I don't care what people say. And there's no wrong answer. And good. I like the responses. Poll question number 2. Personally, you have underwritten a real estate loan, commercial real estate loan. And that can be broad interpretation. You've been a BDO on one. You've underwritten one. You've been closely involved. Good. Franklin Brothers will be a commercial property acquisition. I think you'll enjoy it. We've put a little tweaks into it to make it complicated. And what's the difference in the questions you've underwritten? Oh, SBA, commercial real estate. I don't even know my own questions. Have you done a 7A and 504 is included? Have you done a real estate loan? Good, half and half. Okay. Spoiler alert, there's no difference between an SBA loan and a conventional loan. The difference is you have to do some things for SBA. Traditionally, SBA will require a lower down payment. As you know, 504 is only 10%, so we do require less for 7A. So there's little tweaks, but the same thing's there. We got a cash flow. We got to make sure the value's there, et cetera, et cetera. And I want to know if you've done a loan for a manufacturer, 50-50. Franklin Brothers is a manufacturer, so I'll give you a little taste of that. And the trick question of the day, it's not a trick question, it's Gray's net profit is the same as cash flows. So when we show his net profit of $90,000, we can assume that that's how much cash came in through the door. Very good. I'm impressed. Good for you all. Good for you all. And that's a consistent theme, is what the CPAs give us is different for their outcome than our outcome. Week 3, we talked about where was that? This was my last minute. Again, in my theme of want you to think about numbers, I came across this, and one of the homework assignments was drive up in your main street and give me estimate of sales. And now I want you to drive up in your main street and think about this. That Sam Gray, the person behind the counter who owns the dry cleaning shop, are they doing better, above average, or below average? The gas station owner, the Hallmark gift owner, the cupcake bakery owner. And yeah, and that's actually all of that. There's no right or wrong answer. I simply ask you that to think about how this person is doing. One of the criticisms of a franchise, the Subway franchise owner, are they buying themselves a job? Can you make a living running one Subway? The answer is, yeah, I don't think you're going to be at $66,000 with one shop. That's why you need to have multiple shops, why you have multiple things. Okay, we talked about the financial statements. I gave you an overview on that. Gave you the reading materials. Interested what you were, if you read, if you perused the underwriting guide. That information is all there on the internet to help you bring in additional sources. You have a lot more stuff at your fingertips than I did 40 years ago when I was learning this. So pretty straightforward financial statements. We talked about income statement, and I made the big deal that profit does not equal cash flow. We talked a little bit about add backs, and that'll be consistent. We'll do the add backs for Grays, and we'll do the add backs for Franklin Brothers. I have a question from Ruben. Thanks, Ruben. I love the questions. I have a question about liquidation. You either heard it from me, probably from that a best practice is to prepare SBA loan files as if they're going to go into liquidation. How do we do that? A best practice of people who I talk to in the field is put your files already into that 10-tab liquidation purchase demand kit. Google it. If you can't find it, send me a link. Send me an email. I'll send you the link. Just SBA 10-tab purchase, loan guaranteed purchases. And it's all there. The financials, the credit memo, the authorization. It's also a wonderful tool for file audit. I wouldn't reinvent the wheel. I would just put the files in a 10-tab. SBA 1 is coming, by the way. It was just announced for you underwriters that July 31st, 2015, if you're a POP lender, all your loans processed GP must be on the SBA 1 platform. So change is continuing. So that's my response to that. Sarah, I loved your homework. You gave me pictures, estimated sales. Good job. And you can see on this is we have the Bead Studios Decotage, handcrafted jewelry. This week we're going to be talking a lot about inventory and valuation. Their estimated sales are $350,000. So what's their cost? How do they make money? The coffee shop's at $600,000, and then you have the Torrance Bakery, high-end wedding special, up to $2 million. So it gives you a overview. Again, my job is context. Who do you think is doing the best of the owners? The Good Stuff or the Specialty Bakery? I would think the bakery. Good Stuff, $3 million. Yeah, but you walk into Russia's, there's a lot of overhead, electric bills. Be curious. My guess is that Torrance Bakery is probably doing better than Good Stuff. Anyway, yesterday I got a set of new tires by my friend the Firestone dealer. I put him in my book, $1,000. But because I'm teaching this class, it made me think also. I was looking around. He had a lift, and I hadn't seen before. I said, Dave, how much are those lifts? 20 grand. There's not a lot of young people. There's a lot of 40-year-old-ish people working there. There's not a lot of old people like me, so that means there's a lot of disability claims. If you're 40, 50, you're in that range, you're making decent money. He has a tremendous amount of overhead. Anyway, let's move on. So good job, Sarah. Thank you. Homework assignment for this. I'm sorry. Week 4, we're talking about the balance sheet. We're going to introduce you to Franklin Brothers, tear apart line by line. The takeaway in the balance sheet is it's balanced. It has to balance. One of the takeaways of this course is someone comes in, and I talk about this in the videos, who are you more scared of? Someone who's going to say they're going to double their sales growth, they're going to increase by 10%, or they're going to drop 5%. The person who says they're going to increase by 100%, because that's going to kill your cash flow if it's not managed properly. And when you hear that, your job is to help them prepare for that type of growth or give them expectations. The highway is littered with companies who have grown too fast, both small business, corporate, and they can't handle it. I have 2 case studies. You will have the Franklin Brothers reading. By the way, we have a participant. I believe all he's doing is reading that and doing the homework, and that's fine. So I think you'll enjoy the Franklin Brothers case study. And again, I know you've read some of these SOP pages before. Give them to you again. I want you to be comfortable. Assets, liabilities, perform a balance sheet. That's what we do as bankers because the CPA isn't doing their job the way we want. And there's only 3 mandated ratios that SBA wants you to put into your credit memo. Now, one of your homework assignments I'll get into in a second is you can always ask for more. But SBA only says 3. Current ratio, debt to worth, and discretionary cash flow. That's all that they ask. Oh, for loans over $350,000. Under $350,000, you don't even need to do that. Okay, homework assignments. You got 3. Choice of 3. Pick any, and I said restaurant. You can do any commercial building. A restaurant may be easy. Freestanding, so it's something, it's not a lease. It's something that's owned. What's it worth today? I want to know what it was worth 5 years ago. And these are estimates. I'm not going to go in and, just a thought exercise. Does the same operator own it? And how do you explain the difference in price? The takeaway for commercial real estate is based strictly on cash flow. And think about that statement. A commercial real estate building is simply an investment, and the value is based on cash flow. And if you have a building where the net income stream is X, and 3 years later it's still X, and the owner says, oh, it's appreciated by $300,000. No. Commercial real estate is only worth the cash flow of the building, present discounted value, future cash flows. Don't be confused otherwise. And a lot of loan portfolios went belly up in 2010, 2011 because they forgot that one simple statement. It's simply based on cash flows. You can tell me, as I said, there are only 3 ratios that SBA demands, but Franklin Brothers is a little bit more complicated. They're a manufacturer, so we have receivable, so we may want to have an accounts receivable turn. We may want, what else? What other ratios would you want to include? And we'll talk about that in the session. I'll go through those, and you can jot those down on what you want to do. And finally, late edition taping. I thought, hey, this would be a good question. Walk in any of those, Sarah. Walk in any of those businesses that you put in, and give me 3. You don't need 5. Give me 3. And what do you estimate their inventory is worth? And think about the quality of that inventory. Franklin Brothers is a difficult case because of the inventory number on their balance sheet. We're going to wrestle with that for the rest of the course. And think about a donut shop, that's easy. That's not worth nothing. What about a floral shop? How long is their inventory good for? What about that gift shop? How much inventory, and again, how much does this turn over? And that's what we want to know. That's Sarah's case where you had that little $350,000 boutique shop. How much of their inventory is sitting on the shelf today that was a year ago? That'll tell you a lot of how much is staffed up. Convenience stores, one of the early warning signs of the death of a C store is they're cutting back on inventory. If you don't have that well stocked, people aren't going to show up anymore. So that's 1 of 3. 1 of 3. Okay. Next Friday, I have a conflict, so I'm going to move it back 2 hours. If that's a problem, you can log on later, obviously, and review it at the time. And with that, we're 14 minutes in. Do we have any questions? Hey, I'm enjoying this. This best part, well, that's not the best part of my week. The best part of my week is Thursday nights I Skype my granddaughter. I'm now become an expert on Disney princes. Ask me any question about Rapunzel or Ariel or Madrona, any of those. Okay. And everyone should have the book by now. If not, drop me a line. We'll make sure we get to you. Pleasant Easter. Talk to you next week. Thanks.